All right, well, welcome to another episode of the Forever Forum. I'm so excited to welcome the three incredible professionals to the panel today. Just some incredible ladies, leaders, inspirational, folks within our network, obviously within the industry, and I'm just so excited for them to share their perspectives of their businesses and what's going on in their respective markets. So first, welcome Tiffany Curry from Houston. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And yeah, absolutely. So excited that you're here. And welcome Kate Crager-Tobin outside of Columbus, Ohio.
Thanks for having us. Good to see you all today.
Yeah, welcome Kate. And Melissa Greer in the Carolinas. Melissa, which city specifically are you in there?
I live in Greensboro, which is right in the center.
Right in the center. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited just to jump right in. I know, each of you have just some incredible perspectives to share. And so, the first thing that I wanted to, just kind of cover with each of you is, your respective experiences that have helped you in the past, experiences that you've had in the past that have helped you kind of shape the way that you look at this particular, downturn and what role those experiences are playing and how you're looking at it and helping your teams and running your companies there, especially for you, Tiffany and Kate. So Tiffany, I want to start with you on that question, please.
Well, I think one of the things that we're looking at here definitely is survival, coping during these times. So I think as a business owner, one of the things that we're doing here is not only helping our agents, but letting our agents help our actual consumers with disaster proofing their businesses. So we're doing that, and we're also doing that with people that we're working with, because what we understand is if they have a business, we have a business. We can't sell real estate without them. So that's been huge for us. So we have been working with companies locally on helping them to do e-commerce, sort of like we're doing like virtual listings, virtual showings, virtual open houses. We're also helping some of our other local businesses sell their products and services online, and assisting with some of the local vendors on doing like food trucks, renting them out and doing things temporarily with those so that they still can generate some type of income.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I know you've got, some specific initiatives that you're working on, and let's explore that a little bit later, because I think those are some really powerful takeaways that maybe some of the rest of the network members could leverage as well. Kate, what about to you in terms of, previous experiences or things that have helped you shape the way you're looking at this, this particular time in our marketplace?
Sure. So I'm a second generation broker owner. I have been in this industry pretty much since birth. So I also kind of feel like I'm one that thrives in adversity. I took my real estate exam to become a real estate agent on 9/11/2001. Between the towers, kind of being crashed into there, took the one plane hit, took the test, another plane hit. So, I just my career was birthed in adversity. I'm just kind of used to this kind of thing. But to share a little bit of a personal testimony about this particular experience, I was one who have personally encountered COVID-19. My husband is a police officer here in Columbus, Ohio, and he was the 7th officer in the city to contract it. And of course, he's a kind-hearted, generous person. He decided to share it with me. So we both have weathered our way through that storm. But really, what we're forward to now is to be cleared so that we can do direct donation. We have been in contact with the local hospitals, and the need for blood plasma donations is huge right now. So we're really hoping that we can, give back for what we've been through in this experience.
Wow. That's incredible. So I guess I assume that he was unaware that he had it and when he passed it along.
Correct. He suffers from seasonal allergies anyway, so it really wasn't something that we expected at first. Kind of came on him like an allergy attack, but really the first clue for him that something was unusual was he lost his sense of taste and smell, which he actually still hasn't recovered from, even though he has had some negative test results. So I guess that takes time to bounce back, but that was really the first clue that something was wrong there, and the city prompted him to go quickly get tested at that point.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank him for his service, and so glad that you were able to make it through. And yeah, you're right. What a great perspective that in and of itself creates, for dealing with what we're going through. So Melissa, to you, you've had just such an incredible career in real estate, and just love to hear, you know, your perspective around experiences that you've gone through professionally that have helped shape the way you're looking at this particular time in our business.
No, thanks, Chris. I mean, I think the biggest thing, and of course I started doing this when I was 5, so just keep that in mind, but I've been a realtor when Kate was taking her test. I'd already been in business for a long time, and 9/11 really has helped me so much with this. I almost feel like it feels more similar to that than the recession, because it really did stop the country. It was really dramatic. It was nothing any of us had ever been through. And during that time and during this time, what we've tried to focus on is giving back to the community. I feel like as realtors, we're going to be good. We talk to I talk to my clients all day long and try and be positive and optimistic, and basically they're calm in the storm, but also I have a lot of clients who are in the hospitality industry or in the medical field. And I really have tried to support them and support some community things and be very open with that on social media, because I think at the end of the day, we all need to work together. But we've been through we've been through things like this, and I'm a firm believer that we will get through it, but it just takes a lot of compassion and a lot of care and a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And so I think that's a great segue, because I know each of you are doing things specifically, you know, to help shape and keep your mindset and routines sharp. So Tiffany, to you on that is, you know, what have you done? What have you found that's really working for you? Or what have you seen with the agents within your company that's really having a lot of positive impact in terms of mindset and routine and any changes there that have been positive?
I think the main thing primarily is staying in communication with everybody. I think relationships right now are the heartbeat of everything that we do. So we communicate and do our Zooms weekly with our company and with our agents. But for me, as far as mindset and what I'm pushing to them is basically right now, every day I have meditation. And I think that that's so crucial, and it's so different because it lets me stop, recollect everything, tune out from what's going on around me, what's going on in the media. So I'm one of those generation that does not watch the news. So all my news is going to be on social media. It's going to either be on Instagram. I do have CNN on there, and that's where I see CNN. And then on Facebook, I see all the other news outlets. But I don't watch the news, but I do see the news. I technically see it on social media. And I think if you allow yourself to get so bogged down and eaten up in that, it's going to destroy your mental. And so for me, every morning I have a new book that I read weekly, and it's for motivation. It's inspirational quotes. It's just great feedback, because what I've come to learn and what I've come to understand by some of the authors that I've been reading is that you are what you believe. So if you start to believe certain things in your head, or you start to get this energy, like this is going to be downhill and everything's going to be crazy, then that's what it's going to be. I think the biggest thing for me is keeping a positive mind, because it's hard to lead other people if your mind is not right. And I think for us, you know, with our agents here, you know, as I mentioned before, separately, I know that a lot of people are afraid right now. They don't want to admit it, you know, especially if they're 100% commission. Their spouses are probably afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, or already have lost their jobs or gotten furloughed. And so those are hard topics to touch, but I do touch them. And I think that that's so crucial. I feel like we're in a place and a time where we can't hide from what's in front of us. I think we have to face it head on. So motivational reading is something that I'm doing. Tomorrow starts our new book club as a company that we'll be doing socially. And I think that that keeps them engaged and plugged in. And more importantly, for people not to feel like they are alone and on an island by themselves. Because I think the biggest thing for us all is to understand this is something that we're all going through together at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's so powerful. You know, and I've used the term before, carefrontation, which is, you know, confronting whatever the reality is, but with doing it with care. You know, a lot of times the discussion around that involves having tough conversations with our clients about things that, are going wrong in a transaction. And, you see some agents avoid those tough conversations and they push it off or they kick the can down the road. And then it just becomes more explosive when it actually comes time to deal with whatever the issue is. It's just more explosive because you've wasted time. But in what you're saying, I can see confrontation in a different lens is confronting the reality of people's emotion and being there as an empathetic, caring, associate with them. I think that's very, very powerful. So, thank you for sharing that. And, Melissa, back to you with the same question. I loved your commentary about, just really pouring into the community and helping, others as part of your routine and mindset and keeping yourself sharp. But could you just kind of give maybe the audience a perspective of what have you done differently during this time than maybe you did before we got into this environment? In other words, are you doing more of something in particular now?
Well, I didn't really know what a Zoom call was before this. And I've always been very hesitant to do videos, which I know our industry pushes. I actually I've been working on a podcast for a year and I went in and pushed that. But what I've realized is that we've had to move forward virtually. And I was very old school. I never thought I could sell houses without someone actually riding with me and seeing them. And we've done that. And I think what this is doing is, I'm very comfortable doing this sort of thing. And a month or two ago, I never would have said that. But it's just, I think the comfort in doing things differently, this was coming anyway. I think virtual showings, doing things a little bit differently, not, there are people who are relocating and they have to see more. So we're doing Matterport tours on all our listings now. And I think that we're never going to stop doing that. Those kind of things I think are so helpful. And just, clients who I've never met, usually with relocation, I would just talk to them on the phone. Well, now we do this so they can meet me and I can meet them. It gives them a comfort level that I can help them navigate anything once we know what we're dealing with. So I think in a way it's pushed us forward in an exciting way and in a relevant way. But then again, it's also pushed us back a little bit to where I'm a talker. So I always before would say, anytime I want to work an offer or transaction out, I pick up the phone. I feel like that's easier for me and a better way to do it. And I think I'm talking a lot. I'm talking to my clients from the time I wake up till the time I go to sleep. And I didn't have time for that a month and a half ago. So in a way, that's been great too. It brings it all together in a good balanced package, I think.
Yeah, that's great. And Kate, I know you have just established some remarkable programs for your company and your agents. So could you just share, the perspective that you bring to the organization in terms of mindset and routine and the disciplines that you're bringing to your agents from that standpoint?
Absolutely. I think it's a good complement to what Tiffany said a minute ago. It's my desire that as we begin to exit this experience of our overcoming testimony, that we're going to bring some comfort to others through this process. There's a lot of fears of unknowns out there, and Tiffany really hits it on the head when she talks about that our firsthand experience is going to really allow us to have empathy with people that are going through this situation. It's my hope that we're going to be minimizing fear and spreading hope for the ability to endure and overcome this time frame and really truly exit it by thriving as opposed to merely just surviving it. In our company, we are really all about relationship here, and I think it's time for a mindset shift from defense to offense on this front. To really stay ahead of any market condition or life circumstance that gets thrown your way, you really have to kind of stay ahead of the curve. So the success of any real estate brokerage, in my opinion, is to stay 6 months ahead of what your competitors are doing, or really in this case, what the market has dictated to us. So we've been working on a program the last 6 to 12 months of taking our agents really through this process of mindset. It's a paradigm shift. It's really been about tapping into the true potential of a person's giftings and God-given identity and trying to bring out those qualities in them. We do a lot in our office in regards to functioning in your full potential here with identity and gifting. I think it's so important to know your purpose and assignment in life, and that really gives you a reason to not fear in this time. I think it's possible that by discovering what, you know, your full potential is and your destiny that you were really kind of born to achieve, that there's just so much that comes out of that experience. You know, we were all born for a time such as this. We're here now. So we really have to think about how do we handle it and move forward. You know, I've heard a lot too on these forum calls from other participants about how they're really calling and checking in on their clients. And I think that's so important during this time. But I think it's hard to get them to really tell you how they're feeling. You know, they are feeling a lot of underlying fear out there, but people, they put up the walls. They're not really open and honest to tell you that's really at the forefront of their minds. And so I think we have some methods as how you can get around that really. We believe in a whole life approach here in our office. We try and teach our agents to function from a place of wholeness in really all areas of their life. We've boiled these down to what we feel are really three major components, which is health, wealth, and relationships. There's a quote by an author named Brene Brown, and she says, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because the world needs people who have come alive." And I really think that's where we need to shift our perspective right now. You know, fear, it's the opposite of faith. And really faith is a mirror of our hearts and the condition thereof. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth typically speaks. So, you know, life and death being in the power of the tongue, it's really so important that we choose positivity and choose to speak positivity in this time. Everyone's heard of the law of attraction. You know, the result of positive thoughts are positive consequences. And likewise, negative thoughts yield negative consequences. So when you speak, you're really creating an environment that each person possesses the ability to be a self-fulfilling prophet. So what you believe, you speak, and therefore you typically manifest that. So if I say, you know, I love you, I'm creating something with you. Likewise, if I say, you know, I hate you, I've destroyed something there. So you really have to be careful what you're speaking. And I think we heard this at convention in one of the mindset classes that I took. When you speak positively, it's scientifically proven that it creates new neurological pathways in your brain that did not previously exist. And that's really how you rewire your brain or renew your mind. You know, as a man thinks, so is he. So the book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, the common point in that book, they talk about the 500 most successful people at the time. The one thing that they all had in common is that they believed it was possible. So there's something really in that belief and that positive thinking. So I guess I would pose this question to the audience. You know, what are you passionate about? I think passion really has the ability to overcome fear, and where passion exists, hope exists. I think hope has the ability to lead you to endurance, and then faith that, you know, faith can lead you into relationships maybe that you didn't think were possible. It's that position and power that takes you really into an action and therefore yielding a result. So I really think we have to be careful to set an environment in every instance that we interact with people for hope and expectation. We function here from a position of joy. You know, it's really what we're doing in the midst of this chaos right now, and it really gives us strength to kind of overcome what we're going through. And I think, Chris, you know, you've kind of been prophesying a little bit when you say that Maya Angelou quote, when you talk about people will remember how you make them feel. You know, I think it's in that process of identifying that we can really move people through this and connect with them on a more intimate level, and they'll remember that. You know, and transformation, you talk about this with motivation or big mo. I think transformation is more of a function of big motivation than really just information for people. We can shoot a lot of information at them, but really we're looking to connect with them and motivate them to the next phase of this process. We use a tool here in life coaching that really helps bring this out in people. You know, I think there's a difference between being a mentor and really being a life coach. If I'm a mentor, I'm really trying to make people become maybe more like me. But in life coaching, I'm really trying to bring out the best qualities of them as an individual. It really helps them connect better to the material, and really that motivation level just goes up astronomically for them. Something else that I noticed recently in some studying that I've done, Yale University, their most popular course right now is, and it's actually the most popular course they've had in their whole history of existence. It's a course on happiness. And I think that tells you really the mentality of the people out there right now. They're really looking for something else. So with this methodology that we kind of bring to the table, we believe that the wholeness in those three areas of life, of health, wealth, and relationships, it's really in that convergence point of those three interlocking circles, if you can kind of picture it like a Venn diagram, that we believe that's where happiness is achieved. And so we're trying to teach this message as a tool of happiness, as a tool of hope, and really, frankly, as an immunity tool. you know, the way a vitamin can bring immunity to health, we think that through the wholeness of these circles and wholeness in relationship and wholeness in finances, you can add immunity to your body because you are decreasing stress in those areas. Where you have passion, you're not typically really stressed out about things. And I just believe it's going to lead to an overall better performance. And we really have some proof that this work, but I'll save that for the next round here.
Wow, that's powerful. Wow, thank you for sharing. I mean, I feel like, man, I feel like there's 3 or 4 hours worth of good material that we could, you know, unpack and explore and take into all sorts of different directions. But that's fantastic. And obviously the results speak for themselves, right? Because your company is up year over year from where you were last year this time.
Yeah, in fact, I went back and looked at last year, 2019 first quarter versus first quarter of 2020. We are up 56% for first quarter 2020 over GCI production for 2019. And then our pipeline and gross volume right now for the same week of 2020 versus the same week of 2019, our pipeline and volume is up 35%. So, I mean, there's proof that mindset principles really work if you can tap in and get your people to adopt them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so let's kind of use that as a good segue to shift into a conversation about, you know, our you know, actual activities. Like, okay, now we've got our mindsets right, our routines are sharp, we're in the right you know, focus point, if you will. Now, what are the best actions that we're actually taking? And so, Tiffany, I'd love to start with you and just picking up on some of the comments you made earlier about what you and your agents are doing in the local community, leveraging social, leveraging some of the partnerships with some of the other businesses, because I think there's some home run ideas there that people can take away. So to you for that.
Thanks, Chris. Well, for us, we are a brand new company. We are 3 months in, and the number one thing that I get hit with, people ask me, are you afraid? And I always tell them the truth. No, I'm not. And so they think I'm crazy, but my biggest thing for our company and for our agents and for our community is leverage. So we are our new campaign basically is for the Forever Agent. Not only just piggybacking off of the Berkshire brand, but also creating a place for us and an identity for us within our community. So it's relationships over spending. And so this was always the campaign, because I've always wanted to keep our debt as low as possible and not take on any loans. That's always been a big thing for me. And so I think right now what we're doing is we're taking that mindset that I have for the company, we're embodying it in the agents, and from there we're doing it with our consumers. And I think for us, this is a great opportunity, you know, and I hate to kind of say that, but it is, because now what we have a different value proposition to our community. So we are doing, we're engaging our Forever Agent platform into our neighborhoods, and instead of doing client appreciation events, which the agents will do individually, the top agents, we're doing neighborhood appreciations. And I think that that's really big for us right now, because our communities are at a standstill. People are stuck inside their homes or stuck inside their neighborhoods. They feel like they're stuck. And so we want to change the mindset of that, but also we want to be a value add, and we want to use this as an opportunity to give back to the community, but also become part of those communities. So we're doing different activities, and one of them I'll share that quite a few people in our market are doing. They have the adult ice cream trucks, which are margarita trucks. So they come with the frozen daiquiris and margaritas and things like that. So we're sponsoring the snacks, and I think that's a big deal, because people are coming outside in their communities and they're excited because they're seeing people that they've driven by and said just kind of waved to, or they've seen them walking their dogs in the neighborhood, but they've never really stopped and taken the time to actually get to know each other. And so now they're 6 feet apart, of course, and everything is well maintained as far as the trucks being sanitized with Lysol and everything being wiped down. So now you're seeing people on the curbs in their communities, right? They're 6 feet apart, and they have their margaritas and they have their snacks, and they're talking, and they're really enjoying life. And I think that's the biggest thing that we kind of forget about when we get so busy in work and people in their neighborhoods and in their jobs, they forget to live. And I think that's a huge thing. So for us, really pushing the lifestyle brand, us being lifestyle agents. And so one of our taglines is where life begins. And so this is really big for us because relationships over spending is huge for us because it keeps our debt low, keeps the agent's debt low, but also now it's actually engaging us in our neighborhoods and communities. And I think that's such a big deal. And for us, also because Houston is one of those markets, like every other year we either have a hurricane or either a flood. It's like clockwork, it's gonna happen. And so we have areas that are just prone to that. And so for us, we've come up with a little campaign, a little booklet that we're putting together called Disaster Proofing Your Business. And this is where I talked about a little bit earlier about e-commerce. So the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is the largest event for Houston. That got shut down right in Midway. Like as soon as I was coming back from Nashville from convention, I was on a flight and I get this alert that the rodeo is shut down. That has never happened as long as I've lived. And I don't think that's ever happened in the history of the city of Houston. And that's our largest event. So you have all these vendors, and I'm thinking like you have over 100,000 people coming out pretty much a day, an evening to participate in cook-offs and buying things from vendors and things like that. Well, we had some people in our community that went online and they started a Facebook group where it basically was online e-commerce where these vendors could come in and sell their products. And within the first few hours, there were over 100,000 people in that group. And I think it's gonna, this event, my personal opinion is I always feel like things don't just happen just because. I think there's a lesson in everything that we go through for us to come through it different. I think the world was already changing before us. I think, I've been involved in different levels of real estate, and I've always said it and I've always seen it. There was always going to have to be a change in the way that we do business, and it was coming whether we wanted it to or not, because it's just happening in the world. Everything is changing. So I think for real estate, for our particular industry, I think we actually are going to benefit in the long run from something like this. I think, and I've told our agents time and time again, it's teaching them how to think different. As a part of the Rethink group for Berkshire Hathaway, I still have meetings with that group of people, and I love that group because they think completely different. And I tell our agents all the time, you have to rethink everything that you're doing. And what you're doing today is not what's going to be tomorrow. If you're going to remain relevant, people will always need our services. It's going to come down to how we do those services. Like customer service and genuine care and compassion and relationships are not something you can replace. But the manner in which you do business, as far as technology, as far as making things more efficient, that has to change. And so I think what we're seeing now over the last 6 weeks is that has definitely changed. We are telling our agents, I will tell you guys, in addition to our clients, we are sending out e-campaigns to let people know basically hot topics, like the top 5 things that's going on right now. How to apply for the PPP loans, what businesses qualify, what's going to be opening, because the state of Texas has released some soft openings coming up. And so they don't have to scroll through all the news and all the drama and all the chaos. We're just hitting them with the hot topics, the hot points. And we get so much feedback on that where people are saying thank you, because I'm tired of watching all the negativity on the news. I feel like they're exploding it and it's just bogging me down. So for them to get the highlights from us, they're seeing us different. They're not seeing us as like grubby salespeople. They're seeing us as they're a friend. We are a part of their community. We are a part of their families at this point. And I think, the more and more people that I pick up the phone and talk to, and our agents as well, we are seeing that we have people's undivided attention now. And I think another thing is, as far as like just engaging with our communities, but also engaging with the clients that we have. We've seen a lot of people in the last 12 days on our transaction sides get furloughed. That's huge. And so you have to start to think, how does that change? Where do we think different? And so I've had a couple people where the first thing that comes to my mind is, I had a guy call and he said, Tiffany, the buyer for my house got furloughed and we got another buyer the next day. So I can still proceed with my purchase, but now I can't because now I'm getting furloughed. So even though we have a replacement buyer for that house, now I'm furloughed. And when I told him, I said, listen, I can sense the stress in your voice. Let's do this. How about you go to sleep tonight and we talk tomorrow and everything's going to be fine. Just don't worry about it. And I promised you that. So I could feel like the relief in him. I knew that he has family here already. They're in an Airbnb. It's all this uncertainty. And he didn't know where they're going to go because they have trucks that are going to be on the way in like less than 10 days. And so I said, don't worry about it. So the agent for the house that they were buying, it was a relocation, but it was one without all the paperwork. Their company was just basically paying their fees. So she had never dealt with a relo company before. So the first thing I did was I called her and I said, listen, call that relo company and ask them, can they extend the benefits of that client? Because my client has gotten furloughed. And she's like, can we do that? I said, yes, you can do that. And the first thing she did, she called them and they said, yes, we will extend it until 2021. That's huge. And so I said, listen, so what I need is my client is furloughed from May 1st to July 1st. What we need is they need a place to live. So they would like to do the temporary lease and move into this property. It's going to be greater than the temporary 90-day time frame. So we're going to have to do it different. But they still want to buy the house. So we want to extend the contract. Well, I will tell you, Chris, we've done this on more than one deal where we have extended those contracts to December 1st closings. And the reason being that we've done that is because that gives him, if he does not go back to work, that gives him time to go and find another job and to earn another month's salary so that he will still qualify for the mortgage. And we're doing that with our agents as well. So we're helping them, and we're also helping the sellers in the neighborhoods that we service by letting them know, hey, listen, still let your house show. Because our biggest caveat is, what if the buyers get furloughed? What if they lose their job? We're in the middle of a contract. And so now we have a value add proposition for them. And so that really does wonders for us, as saying that we are the forever agent, because nobody else is thinking about that. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
People are just thinking, oh, the deal is done. And so we're taking it to the next level. So I think that, I think there's opportunity in any market. For us, the community engagement and being a part of those local businesses, because for us, I will tell you, real estate is local, even though we're doing national business and global transfers and things like that, which has just been a part of my business from the social media aspect. We're really honing down on relationships over spending. And so giving back to our communities, being a part of those communities, that's really changing the face of how the consumer sees us. And when they need us, even if they can't use us now, when they need us, they'll know. And I think the other thing is people have to realize too, price sells houses. We've had a listing go up, I think on Tuesday, and in 3 hours it had multiple offers. Obviously it's well priced, but that goes back to the adage, price still sells houses. And as Kate said, people are still out there, they're still buying. All of our agents are still showing homes. They are doing social distance, of course, and on the vacant properties, they're going in, they're opening them up, turning on all the lights and coming out and letting the clients actually walk through them on the vacants. Yeah. And I think we want that because it protects them, but it still shows them that we are servicing our communities. We're still out there, we're still on the front lines. We did see an article yesterday for Texas that they estimate about 688,000 people that are in food service business, restaurant and things like that will basically be out of jobs. That's huge. That's huge.
Right.
So for us, that's huge. And so all of those people, like, where do they go? What do they do? So we are coming up with our disaster proofing your business. We're also putting together other job opportunities that people can pursue. As realtors, what I've learned going through so many different things is we are great organizing and coordinating things, whereas most industries, they're great workers, where we're great planners. And so I feel like that gives us a value proposition to be able to say, hey, listen, if you're in this industry, here's some other industries you may want to look at. That would be an easy transition. Yeah. For us,
I love that. I love that.
Working. That's the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's great. And some wonderful takeaways there. So Melissa, I want to go back to your podcast. I'm just curious, what is your perspective of that podcast? Who are you trying to reach? Because since that's a new element of your business, what's the messaging, the audience, the format?
Well, thanks, Chris. It's interesting at the convention in Vegas, our speaker there was Randy Zuckerberg, and that was a year ago. And she said, if I could give you any advice right now, I would do a podcast because there are more listeners than people who do them. So I came back to my marketing people and I said, let's do one if you want. And they loved it. We've been working on it for a year. I mean, this is a perfect time to push it, which we did. We had the episodes done and they were just finishing up. But what it is very short, 15, 20 minutes, Melissa Unscripted on iTunes, if you want to check it out. And it's basically tips on real estate and staging and how to, do certain things, but also it's fun and a little inspirational. I've always tried to be optimistic. I've always tried to, I don't know if you've ever read a book called The Energy Bus. John Gordon wrote it. That's almost a Bible for me because it just, anytime you start to get down, if you just bring your energy up and you're not negative and you don't allow it around you, things tend to work out. And that's how I got through the recession. So we talk about all sorts of different things like that. And we're actually going to record a COVID-19 one this week we're going to throw that in the middle. But I mean, I feel like that it's just another layer. I've heard from clients and friends all over the country that said, it feels like I just visited with you and it felt good. Because we laugh and it's fun, but it's serious. I mean, we talk about real estate, we talk about all sorts of things. So that's the thing. I mean, I do want to know more about that margarita truck, though, that Tiffany's. I think that would be a really great business tool for us. But no, I mean, I love hearing, I mean, obviously, I mean, Kate and Tiffany are such pros. I feel like I want to talk to them once a week and get ideas and inspire myself because, I mean, it helps. But the other thing we did, which was great, is I kept my whole support staff working. And so I've got a couple young guys who we reached out to all our older clients, even the ones who are living in assisted living that we've helped sell their homes, and they're taking them things if they need it so they don't have to get out. Those are the kind of things we're offering to do while while we're under some restrictions. But at the end of the day, I love this business. I'm the youngest of 5. 4 of us are realtors. My mother was a great realtor. I grew up doing this just like Kate did. And I feel like that I've seen it and we're going to get through this. It'll make us better and we'll get through it. I mean, and sometimes it's a struggle, but if you just know that, I mean, we're okay. We've been through 9/11. We've been through a couple of recessions. We're still here selling real estate. People always need a home. I mean, that's the most important thing to people, and they're always going to need it. And they're always going to need someone to help them navigate that process. And so we're just trying to do it during good times and bad. And I just feel so lucky to be exposed to Kate and Tiffany because I've picked up some good ideas here. And I mean, it's amazing and very, very inspiring. So thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all, to that point. It's just, I went into this whenever we started these, 6 weeks ago or so with this whole idea that I've always had is, man, the strength of our network and the power and experience and wisdom of the people that are represented by the 52,000 agents and professionals in our network this is all we need. Together, we're all that we need to, get through this and be stronger together when we come out of it. And so, thank you, Melissa, for making that point. And thank you for, man, what a storied career of service to our industry and your clients. So that's great. So Kate, to you, just the question of, specific to anything in the actual activity, the deal activity, that you feel like has been a lesson learned or a takeaway that you're excited that it's going to, stay with us beyond when we come out of this?
From what I said about, how our numbers are reflecting that this process works, what we're really hoping to do here is not only develop our people, but then in turn have them turn around and have these almost like life coaching conversations with their clients. Because what we have been able to do is really, and our our people would attest to this, is to say that we just go to the heart of who they are and try and find those qualities that are the best of their nature and accentuate those. And it's just a way of tearing down walls with people, because we are so interested in having these intimate relationships with people. You know, our office, it's a family, and we don't just, you know, say hi to people. We spend time with them outside of the office. We hang out together outside of here. We really have this intimate depth of relationship with them. And what I'm hoping is that translates from the brokerage to the agent, and then of course from the agent then to the client, so that you really are doing, as Tiffany's saying, being the forever agent and, you know, multiplying that forever. And I think that's really how you insulate yourself from these market conditions going forward.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's exactly, you know, what's been missing in the last, you know, I guess since we've come out of the recession, so call it 12 years, is we've become so transactional and so focused on the technology and what role the technology would play and how do I automate my CRM, and, you know, the layers between us and the clients and the humanity involved in what all of that could and should look like has been disguised with so many different, you know, buttons and features and apps and all of this sort of thing. So yeah, I'm so encouraged and invigorated by getting back to what I call vitamin H, which has been missing in the industry, is the vitamin H for humanity. So I love to think about that too. Tiffany, to you, anything specific on the deal level activity that you found is very helpful, or you're excited about, you know, living, you know, being a part of us in our industry beyond this?
I am. I think the biggest thing, like we touched on for us, and what I harp on with telling people, is creativity. This is the time that you have this time to explore, to get as creative as possible. One of the pillars that I am harping on to our agents and to my clients and to the consumers that we're dealing with, it's time to reduce debt. And that's something that we all have to recognize. It's time to reduce debt. You know, we have the time to sit back and analyze everything that we have in place, and it's time to cut back. I think if you cut back, that alleviates a lot of fear that people have, because we have been overspending for so long and not really paid attention. Just dealing with our clients lately, we've seen that a lot of them have a lot of things on auto pay that they have not been using and forgot that they had forever. And so they love the fact, and we tell them, you've had this forever. So we're your forever agents, and we're calling you to help you with this. And so I think that's different. People are not expecting those type of phone calls to be giving them a value add other than just, hey, let me sell you something. And so we are discussing real estate with them, of course. We're discussing refinance. We're discussing downsizing, because a lot of them are in homes that they don't need this much space. And then some of them are in homes where they do need more space, or they need a different type of space. And so the people that are in like the 3- and 4-story townhomes, being in there right now full time has made them rethink if this is the way that they want to live. So we're excited.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at, okay, so they can ditch the maintenance fees of the townhomes, take on a single family home, save some money, save some time, save some time going up the stairs. That's been a big thing. And I think one of the other things for us is, as I said, has been community engagement. I think this is a big opportunity for us to take advantage of being able to communicate with people and build relationships. I think for our company, what I've looked at is just, and I've said it so many times, so I'll say it again, is keeping our debts and expenses low and getting creative and using social media. I feel like social media has bridged the gap. It built my business, so I know what it can do personally. For us in our market, we've seen a lot of large, very successful companies go down, and that was pre-COVID. That's within the last 12 months. And so by us seeing that, we're already looking at the headlines, and that's another thing that I keep our agents engaged on so that they're not worried, is our stability. I think that is huge, because they're seeing companies that were doing 1.4 billion, 2 billion a year, and all of a sudden they're out of business. And you ask yourself, how does that happen? Well, the debts were too high. Yeah. It's not hard to figure out. And so they're seeing the layoffs of other companies, and I won't mention them, but we've all seen them. We've seen the furloughs, the cutbacks, the salaries reduced, and this and that. So you kind of know what's coming over the next 3 to 5 years. And so what I look to, and I think I've taken this time to look at how I'm going to position my company, you know, for that fallout, because we know that it's coming and we're getting prepared and we're ready for it. And I feel like as agents, you know, you have to keep them motivated. They have to be inspired, and they have to know that they're in a place that's not going out of business. And I think no matter if they admit it or not, it's on their minds. And just for our market alone, and I know every market is different, but we've seen two major Houston firms that have been in business over 30 years, both doing well over $1 billion in transactions, go down or quote unquote merge. And we know what that means. So I think engaging not only our communities, but our agents, so that they understand the stability that we have in addition to the resources that they have. I think our people definitely feel good. They feel like they're in the right place. And, you know, that's a big deal right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I don't think that we talk about that enough is that, you know, one of the things that, you know, I'm mindful of is that all of our great agents, all of you are small businesses. And obviously our brokers, most of our brokers are small and then medium-sized businesses. So we're really just a collection of entrepreneurial enterprises that are all coexisting and competing and cooperating together continuously. And, you know, as a CEO myself, I can tell you that one of the primary, you know, measures that I'm focused on is our net income. You know, I mean, that's a key driver for any CEO. And I a lot of times I feel like as CEO agents of our businesses, we're not looking at that net income. And so you're right, Tiffany, expenses keep going up. And why are they going up? Because we're chasing things that aren't really, you know, accretive to our profit, our net income. We're chasing more leads. We're chasing more advertising. We're chasing more expenses that may feel good on the surface. But at the end of the day, when we balance the books, if it's not growing your net income, what's it really doing? And so I think that is a powerful perspective, and I really appreciate you sharing that. So Melissa, to you, just, you know, final closing thoughts, words of encouragement, lessons learned. I mean, you've had such a prestigious career, you know, and I know you got so many things that you could share. What do you want to say to the audience in closing?
Well, the only thing I can say, and I think everything happens for a reason, any change or difficulty in our industry through the time I've done it, I feel like it gives us an opportunity to evolve, get better, be a better realtor, be a better friend, be a better community person. And I'm a big believer in that. So as bad as this has been for a lot of us, I think we'll come out of it better agents. We'll come out of it just as successful, if not more so. But also, I know Kate uses the word a lot, and I run my whole business based on empathy and caring about the clients. And I think things like this really bring that out. That should be our number one focus, and whatever we need to do for them to be okay. And I think this has been a great reminder, and I'm excited for this to get back to normal a little bit, but we're also embracing it. Our business has really been good, and I'm very grateful for that. But I think it's just a matter of just being willing to adapt and just do whatever we need to do to make sure the clients are okay. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this panel, and I've learned a lot. So I thank you for that, but it's been my pleasure, and always great to see you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, Melissa. Thank you for that. And as you were talking, I was reminded of that saying that, you know, things turn out best for those that make the best of the way things turn out. So I think that, you know, captures some of what you were saying, and just so appreciate you. Tiffany, what about you? Just last closing inspirational words or lessons learned for the audience.
I will leave you with a quote that is one of my favorite by Babe Ruth. It's hard to be the person that never gives up. I think no matter who you are, where you are, what season, what you're going through, that's what we have to remember. And real estate is cyclical. It's always been an up and down game, but the strong survive. So your mindset will determine where you end up. And I think that that's what people have to remember.
I love it. Kate?
Yeah. So this process that I described, it's not just a model of success, but it's really, it can be applied in any area of your life, not just business, but in family and relationships, in overall health, maybe in philanthropy or your personal finances or just any business entity that you're involved in. Mindset works, and we obviously have the proof of that. And I think it's time to adopt an offensive strategy and not just sit back defensively anymore and kind of let this downturn happen to us as we have maybe in the past. I think it's time that we become cultural architects of the world we desire to have around us, and find your passion, speak positively, become the best version of yourself, find that place of happiness inside of you, find that place of balance, of wholeness in life, and go out and spread that hope to others. The dividends that will pay will be exponential in return. And I can tell you, I'm a natural born introvert. I didn't really speak to people until I was like 16 years old. So if I can do this, anybody can do this. So if I can help anyone, please reach out. It would be my pleasure to help any of you all. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's a perfect way to sum it up. I knew coming into this panel that it would be full of inspiration and motivation and actionable insight. And on behalf of our whole network and really the industry, I just so appreciate all of you, what you do, your leadership, your charisma, your selflessness. Just very humbling and inspiring for me to be associated with you. You all make me want to be a better, contributor, to what we're doing, and you make me want to just work my butt off, to do whatever I can to make everything that we're doing better, because you deserve it. And I know I speak for our network. So I'm so appreciative of the three of you. For all of our audience watching or listening, please share this. Again, our mission is to make sure that every single person in the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Network has access to all of this great information and its content, and recognize that together we are, an incredible network and an incredible force in the industry. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate all of you, and we'll talk again very soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.